Losses in wrestling are an inevitable thing, whether losing a debut, losing a belt, or losing a streak. But how can you know how that feels if you've never won anything? How obsessed can someone get to not be a loser anymore? In September of 2015, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling gets breaking news. A new wrestler, Azusa Takigawa, will start wrestling for the promotion. She enters the ring with a big smile and a golden microphone. Her opponent is Tokyo Joshi's ace, Miyu Yamashita. And while Azusa puts in a commendable effort, she doesn't stand a chance against Miyu's striking. Even though she lost, Azusa wants to work hard as a wrestler and also as a news reporter. During matches, Azusa would live commentate the fights. If she was caught in a submission hold, Azusa would describe how determined and strong she was before finally reaching and grabbing the ropes. And during tag matches, she would comment on how strong her teammate was and how this would definitely lead to their victory. Things have not been going Azusa's way since her debut. She always tries her hardest, but she comes up short in each match she is in. Even in high-profile matches, Azusa just can't get the job done. She looks around at her senpais and kohais flourishing in the promotion, but at the end of each match, her shoulders are always the one that are held down for the 3 count. Azusa concludes the reason for her weakness is a lack of a husband. A lot of other wrestlers from other promotions are getting married and are starting to see success, so Azusa is determined to get hitched so she can finally win a match. She starts coming to the ring wearing a veil and carrying around a magazine. The Zexy magazine, a woman's lifestyle mag that holds tips and advice for engaged women. Azusa covets this book like a Bible and is always seen with it. What's more, because the magazine is so thick, Azusa starts using it as a weapon in her matches. One way or another, this magazine will get her a win. During a match with Nonoko, instead of going for rope breaks whilst in submission holds, she would instead reach for a microphone to plead with General Manager Tetsuya Kodo to abolish the rule that Joshi wrestlers could not be in relationships. After the match, Nonoko was moved by Azusa's dedication and drive to get married. Nonoko is not getting any younger, having just reached her 20s, and so would like to join Azusa on her quest to get hitched, and so the marriage army is born. Nonoko was the inaugural Princess Cup winner and a formidable wrestler with her Boinmaker and Boimaye finishes. With a new teammate to cheer her on and coach her, Azusa's confidence grows, even challenging Yu for the Princess Championship. However, Azusa is still lacking in strength and unfortunately causes the marriage army to lose time after time. And if things couldn't get any worse, the two receive devastating news. The magazine company Zexy has caught wind of their escapades and don't appreciate their magazine being used as a blunt object, and so kindly ask Azusa and Nonoko to please stop hitting other people with their magazine. Azusa and Nonoko are distraught. The two are trying their hardest to get married, and now the one thing they look to for guidance has now rejected them. And after losing again to Bishikigun, Nonoko decides it's best for the marriage army to disband. It's been several months and neither of them are any closer to getting married, and also losing all the time isn't a good look. So, Azusa and Nonoko decide to end the marriage army, but will still support each other. Back on her own, Azusa is still unable to get any wins, and what's more, Nonoko has a new teammate in Yuna Manase. Nonoko has decided to begin her retirement from professional wrestling, and with both being buxom ladies, Nonoko takes Yuna under her wing and teaches her the secrets of her Oppai fighting style. All while Azusa is floundering on her own. She attempts to get a win over newly debuted and super green rookie Maki Ito, and she comes close getting 2 draws, but in the final confrontation, Azusa can't get the job done. But Azusa would not have to wait long. Either the culmination of all Azusa's experience or just dumb luck, Azusa gets her first win over Nodoko Onesan, giving Azusa her long-deserved win after over a year since her debut. But the victory would become short-lived, as Sakisama has been beating and humiliating some of the weaker roster members and has her eyes set on Azusa. And while Azusa's confidence may be up from her first win, Sakisama is just too much for her. Still, Sakisama takes a curiosity in Azusa, saying there is beauty hidden deep in her and wants Azusa to join her. Azusa remembers the harsh words Sakisama said when she and Nonoko faced Bishikigun before, and she refuses as she's still set on achieving her dream. Sakisama wasn't asking though, and calls to the back where Yukio Saint Laurent appears. Azusa attempts to fight him off, but is overpowered and injected with a strange green liquid before falling unconscious, and then being carried to the back. The next show, Sakisama introduces the rest of Tokyo Joshi to her newest apostle, Azusa Christie, or Sister for short. Azusa appears in an outfit similar to a nun's, with a big book filled with her writings of how much she adores Sakisama. Sakisama has taken all that was weak about her and changed it into something strong and beautiful. She demonstrates this new power by winning her first match in convincing fashion with a new finisher, the Christie Agape. After the match, however, Nonoko and Yuna Manase enter the ring to confront the new Azusa. Nonoko is shocked as to what Azusa has become, but knows this isn't the real Azusa, and this was all that evil Sakisama's doing. While Nonoko was speaking, however, Azusa threatened to hit her with the book. Nonoko tried to stop her by bringing up that they were not allowed to hit each other with literature ever since the Zexi controversy. Azusa ignored Nonoko's plea and smashed the book over Nonoko's head. Sakisama then challenged Nonoko to show how much stronger Azusa has become under her tutelage compared to hers. The match starts with Super Milk Combination getting the drop on Bishiki-gun. Yuna and Nonoko are relentless on Azusa, not going easy on her, trying to knock Sakisama's influence out of her. But when Sakisama gets involved, the momentum begins to shift to Bishiki-gun's way. And when Super Milk Combination tries to rally with a double Opai Mei, Sakisama quickly dodges, so Yuna and Nonoko hit each other. With Nonoko dazed, Azusa climbs the top rope with her book of dedication to Sakisama in hand and smashes it over Nonoko's head. Further combo attacks with Sakisama put Nonoko in a dangerous position to get pinned. Yuna comes in to make the save, but unfortunately gets grabbed by Azusa, who hits the Christie Agape to neutralize her. Left alone in the ring, Nonoko attempts to fight off Sakisama to save her friend. She baits an Academy Award kick, countering it into a Boinmaker attempt, but Sakisama counters that into a reverse STO. Nonoko sufficiently dazed and too weak to fight back, Sakisama hits the Academy Award kick to beat Nonoko and keep her hold on Azusa. Azusa has proven that she has outgrown her former partner and friend, and leaves a crying Nonoko in the ring as she moves forward to the future. With Nonoko retiring from wrestling in the next few months, the last person who could have snapped Azusa back to her senses has failed. That same night, Neo Bishiki-gun confront the current tag team Shoko Nakajima and Yuka Sakazaki. Sakisama, too prideful to challenge for the belts herself, continuously goads Yuka and Shoko until they lay out a challenge themselves. In the lead-up to the Tag Team Championship match, Sakisama indulges in her favourite pastime, beating and bullying weaker wrestlers in Tokyo Joshi. Her victim this time is Marika Kobayashi, an innocent 17-year-old who is out of her depth when facing the likes of Sakisama. Inflicting pain on the helpless gives Bishiki-gun the confidence to take out Shoko and Yuka. Sakisama had always wanted to get revenge over Shoko for embarrassing her years ago by being the first person to pin her, and she has now taken the most important thing to her away. But Sakisama is not interested in the belts now that she has them, and so tosses the championship away. From then on, whenever Bishiki-gun would make their entrance, Azusa would carry both belts. Bishiki-gun would hold onto the belts viciously, beating any team who would dare try to take them from them. And in between title matches, Sakisama would continue to bully Marika. Miyu Yamashita had seen enough of how Bishiki-gun were treating Marika, and so teams with her to take the belts off Bishiki-gun and hopefully cause them to leave. Before the match can start, Marika's emotions get the best of her, attacking Sakisama before the bell is even rung. Marika and Miyu try to keep the momentum going in their favour, but Bishiki-gun is more used to working as a team than them. When Miyu is occupied by Sakisama and taken out, Marika is left alone to fend off Azusa. She impressively holds her own, but her emotions and lack of experience get the better of her. She runs into a thrust kick, but is able to kick out. Marika is too weak to continue, however, and Azusa hits her with another kick and then the Christie Agape, giving Bishiki-gun another win over Marika. Sakisama admonishes Marika, saying what she did at the start of the match was cowardly, and that perhaps Marika should leave if things are getting too hard for her. Just then, Reika Saiki came out and challenged Bishiki-gun for the belts, and shockingly, instead of having Miyu as her partner, instead wants Marika on her team, instead, as she believes Kobashi can become strong enough to beat Bishiki-gun. With Miyu's blessing, the Muscle JK Strikers are formed. Azusa insults the new tag team, comparing them to insects attracted to the pure light that is Sakisama. Sakisama agreed to the challenge, as this farcical display has put her in a good mood. To prepare for the tag team match, Marika is trained by Reika. She has exhibition matches against both Miyu Yamashita and Reika Saiki in hopes she can grow stronger. Reika explained that it is not easy to become strong. Marika doesn't care how hard it is though, she doesn't want to be a loser anymore. Reika's strength is indeed impressive. Sakisama would usually be the one to overpower her opponents due to her height advantage. However, Reika shows her strength to be either on par with Sakisama's or slightly greater. Sakisama smartly uses dirty tactics to catch Reika off guard. When the JK strikers would start to take the lead in the match, Sakisama and Azusa would do whatever it takes to regain the upper hand. Marika's training and conditioning with Miyu and Reika has paid off. She's able to go toe-to-toe with Sakisama and Azusa. However, the experience gap is great, so Marika, whilst able to take a lot more punishment than before, can't capitalise on many opportunities. When Reika is tagged in, Bishikun would do their best to wear her down as quickly as possible, so she would need to tag out, making a much easier target of Marika spend the most time in the ring. Marika continues fighting on, dodging many attempts Bishikun make to win the match. Reika comes in to even the score, leaving Marika and Azusa to fight it out alone once more. The match begins to mirror the last tag title match. Reika is taken out on the outside by Sakisama as Azusa hits 2 thrust kicks that Marika kicks out of. She attempts another kick to set up the Christie Agape, but Marika dodges and hits a choke slam. Azusa tries the Christie Agape without a setup, but Marika counters, so she instead hits a Codebreaker. Azusa lets out a cackle as she believes the match to be won and goes for the Christie Agape again. But Marika struggles free, and an unprepared Azusa takes a drop kick for the 3 count. As Reika and Marika celebrate, a hysterical Azusa clutches the belts, refusing to give them up. She denies the result of this match and will not hand the belts over. Sakisama has to step in to calm her down, asking if there is something that Azusa cares more for than the belts. Azusa affirms that there is, Sakisama of course, and hands over the belts before leaving with Sakisama. But the loss of the tag titles has clearly shook Azusa. Being the one to lose the belts to Marika had been the most traumatic experience of her life. Sakisama doesn't show how disappointed she is in Azusa, but she must be right. Azusa has let her down in the most extreme way possible. How could she not be? After their match, Yuki Kamifuku approaches Bishikun, wanting to become a new member, as she thinks their outfits look cool. Azusa thinks this is a horrible idea. She wants Sakisama to herself so she can prove that she is not useless. She loses her temper and begins screaming, Sakisama needing to calm her down again. And then things get even worse when Sakisama agrees to take Yuki on as an apprentice. This must be Sakisama's way of replacing Azusa, so Azusa must do everything in her power to make Sakisama not want to replace her. The next show, Kamiyu misses her cue, coming out early, Azusa needing to drag her back until their theme plays. Things don't get any better during the entrance, Azusa showing her annoyance of Kamiyu being included in the match. The match is going Bishikun's way, as it usually does, but Azusa and Kamiyu cannot stop bickering amongst each other, and Kamiyu isn't knowledgeable of Bishikugun's etiquette, stealing Sakisama's rose for an attack which is countered and causes Bishikun to lose. A 2-loss streak for the first time has never happened in Bishikugun history. Kamiyu later thanked Sakisama for the opportunity to join Bishikun, but decided to call it quits after the first day. It's just not right for her, leaving Sakisama and Azusa stunned. Angry with Kamiyu's decision, Azusa faces her in a match where she quizzes Kamiyu about how well she knows Sakisama. Eventually getting bored with this, she goes on to beat Kamiyu to avenge Bishikugun's honour. Unfortunately, during the same show, Sakisama is in the Princess Cup for the first time, and Azusa feels it's her duty to help Sakisama win the tournament. Sakisama's opponent is Hyper Misao, and despite Azusa's best efforts, she is unable to help Sakisama get the win. Azusa's feelings of inadequacy grow more and more with each time she fails Sakisama. Things would get even worse when Martha Stewart, Sakisama's 9-year-old maid, starts tag teaming with Bishikugun once more. Azusa sees this once again as Sakisama trying to replace her, and so does her best to upstage Martha, being uncooperative during tag team moves, and doing her best to stop Martha from looking good in front of Sakisama. Eventually the two get tired of working together and actively attempt to sabotage the other. But this backfires when during a match, Martha and Azusa's squabbling causes Bishigun to lose for a third time. Sakisama has had enough of how erratic Azusa has been acting, and so calls forth for her sensei, Yukio Saint Laurent, to come out. The same person who brought Azusa under Sakisama's spell will be needed to re-educate her. The one person that Azusa looked for guidance has now rejected her, but instead, Yukio turned his syringe against Sakisama. Sakisama, seeing this as an act of betrayal, decides to schedule a match at the upcoming Beer Garden show. It will be Bishigun versus Bishigun for the first time ever. The match starts with Yukio and Sakisama squaring off. They pace back and forth until Azusa asks to be tagged in, which Yukio agrees as Sakisama tags in Martha. Now being on opposite teams, Martha and Azusa are able to fight it out properly. Martha introduces her mop and the two begin countering back and forth with mop-based holds. Martha gets frustrated and makes some distance before tripping Azusa and attempting to impale her on the mop. This brief loss of composure is enough for Martha to tag in Sakisama so she can cool her head. While it may have been inconceivable to Azusa to attack Sakisama earlier, the past few weeks have corrupted her psyche even more so than before. Now hurting and beating Sakisama is a fantastic way of showing how much she cares for her, but because of her erratic behaviour, Sakisama is easily able to overpower Azusa. However, Azusa is teamed with Sakisama long enough to know her tricks of the trade and is able to stop Sakisama's rose attack, and is able to fight off Martha to hit a codebreaker so she can tag in Yukio Saint Laurent. Yukio is able to use his pressure point holds to stab both Martha and Sakisama with his scalpels, and when Martha retrieves her mop to even the playing fields, Yukio begins to hurl scalpels at her, which Martha begins batting away. With Yukio exhausted of syringes, Martha and Sakisama get the upper hand, but Yukio is able to overpower Sakisama, and when he has Sakisama caught in a hold, notices Azusa wanting to be tagged in. Azusa continues the offense on Sakisama, hitting her with a flurry of elbows and bulldogs. Sakisama is able to regain control when Martha interferes, and hits multiple combination moves on Azusa. With Martha occupying Yukio, Sakisama is able to do more damage on Azusa and gets a near pin. Yukio manages to fight Martha off and hits Sakisama's pressure point once again, allowing Azusa to hit the Christie agape. But Sakisama kicks out. Azusa hits multiple thrust kicks, but when Sakisama dodges, Azusa converts it into a crucifix pin attempt. But as Sakisama kicks out, she converts it into a triangle chokehold. Azusa tries to struggle free but can't. It takes Yukio to help Azusa break free. But this gives Martha a chance to take out Yukio, as Sakisama and Azusa trade quick pin attempts with one another, until finally Sakisama is able to set up the Academy Award kick, allowing her to pin Azusa.
世界中からあなたのことを見守っているから、だから大丈夫よ。そういうことよ。皆様、またお会いいたしましょう。ごめんなさいませ。
The next show, Azusa returns to Tokyo Joshi as Azusa Takigawa, the #1 ring announcer. She complains about having a headache during her match, but is happy to be back to her old self, and everyone else on the roster agrees. But this good news would become slightly tainted, as Azusa has decided to retire by the end of the year. Over the next few months, she takes on Saki Akai at Brand New Wrestling in a losing effort, and after that, Miyu Yamashita in a heartbreaking match, with both girls breaking out in tears. Azusa had always been a well-loved member of the roster, and everyone is sad to see her go. Shoko and Misao even hold protests during shows to stop Azusa from retiring, but eventually they all come to terms that it is Azusa's time to leave. Azusa's final match will be a special handicap match. It will be Azusa versus everyone else on the roster in a 2 out of 3 falls handicap tag team match. The match itself acts as a memory lane for Azusa, squaring off against opponents who had given her some of the most memorable moments whilst being a wrestler. She squares off once more with Maki Ito, fight the Mariklians once more, and is confronted by Misao, who has finally accepted Azusa's retirement. And at one point, Azusa was hit by a goodbye train attack where all members hit her in the corner. Even non-active members like Rika Tatsumi, Akana Miura, and General Manager Tetsuya Kodo joined the train as well. However, Azusa was able to counter Kodo's attempt. Despite the upbeat nature of the match, Azusa is still taking it seriously. This will be the last time she will ever wrestle, and so wants to put on a good fight. Still, 16 against 1 is a giant handicap, and Azusa is slowly tired out as fresher and fresher wrestlers are tagged in. Eventually, Shoko hits the Northern Light suplex that Azusa can't kick out of, giving the first fall to Tokyo Joshi. As Shoko and Azusa embrace, Sakisama's theme plays. As Sakisama poses for the crowd, Azusa attempts to get a sneaky roll-up but fails. Sakisama hits Azusa with her rose and a kick to the corner, but Azusa kicks out. Sakisama hits another kick to Azusa, and as the ref counts, Azusa uses the last of her strength to just kick out. Exhausted, Azusa watches Sakisama set up the Academy Award kick, and as Sakisama charges, Azusa opens her arms, goading Sakisama to hit the move. Sakisama pins Azusa, giving Tokyo Joshi its second pin. Sakisama hugs Azusa, and to make the scene even more bizarre, Sakisama tags in Miyu as Azusa's next opponent. Miyu allows Azusa to get to her feet, and even get in a few elbow strikes, but Azusa at this point is drained both physically and emotionally. But as Miyu tries to hit the attitude adjustment, Azusa gets a second wind and attempts a crucifix submission, and brings Miyu to the ground, but Miyu is able to reach the ropes. Azusa hits a thrust kick and then tries for a desperate Christie Agape, but Miyu is able to struggle free. Miyu hits the Crash Rabbit Heat, leaving Azusa defenseless on the mat. But Miyu is slow to cover, hesitating as she crawls closer to Azusa. Azusa yells at Miyu to get it over with, but to pin Azusa, to retire her for once and for all, is the hardest thing that Miyu has ever done, and so refuses. And so Azusa calls for a mic.
私のプロレスラー人生をこれからの東京女子プロレスのみんなに捧げます。ギブアップ。
Azusa gives up, verbally submitting, ending the match 3-0 for Tokyo Joshi.
ありがとうございました。まず引退を決めた時にどの日にしますかって幸田さんと相談して、その時私の引退試合だからってたくさんの人が来てくれるかどうか不安だったから、どこでもいいです、できればデビューした新宿のエースがいいけど、でもみんなの迷惑にならないのであれば王子でもいいしどこでもいいです、別に華やかじゃなくていいですって、それは自信がなかったからそうやって言ったんですけど、こうやってたくさんの方が来てくれて、私横断幕ないことも実はすごい気にしてたんですけど、なんか今日一日だけできてて、なんか高いだろうにすいませんって思っちゃって。引退を発表した時も言いましたけど、楽しかったりあったかい場所は入れるもんならずっといたいけど、でも自分の中で納得ができるところに来たら終わりを決めなくちゃいけないって自分で思ってたから、私がやりたかったこととか実現したかったことは東京女子にいてほとんどができたし、アナウンサーになる夢だっていろんなこと言われたけど、プロレスラーになってなかったらできなかったアナウンサーの仕事もたくさんできたし、これからもできると、そこは押し付けが強いタイプなので思ってますし、東京女子のみんなとは初めに入団した時みんな心が綺麗すぎて社会にもまれて 汚れてた私の気持ちがすごく汚く感じて、会社の人とかにそういうふうに思えちゃうのがすごい嫌なんですって言ったことはありました。でも一緒にいると濁った私もどんどん透明になっていく気がして、外から入ってくる子たちはどんな子だったとしたってみんないいところも悪いところも受け入れられる仲間だから、いい意味で上下関係がなくて、それがたまにうるさすぎて私よく怒りますけど、これからデビューする子たちもそういう東京女子だってことを分かった上で東京女子を守ってほしいし、またね、練習生がどんどん増えてもこの仲が良くて家族みたいな、さっき翔子ちゃんも言ってたけど、喧嘩してもごめんね、ありがとうってはっきり言い合える、そういう東京女子をずっとずっと守っていってほしいし、こうやって、私のためだけじゃなくて普通にシンプルに東京女子が好きで来てくれたお客さんももちろんいると思いますけど、私のためにこうやっていろいろ用意してくれたから、絶対東京女子のお客さんはこれから先も東京女子を温かく見守ってくれるんだろうなって、なんだかちょっと寂しいような、あったかいような気持ちになりました。今まで支えてくれた東京女子のみんな、ファンの方たち、会社の方たち、家族、本当にありがとうございました。これからも東京女子をよろしくお願いします。3年間本当にありがとうございました。
Azusa collects all the streamers for her and bundles them up in the center of the ring, placing her golden microphone in the center before leaving the ring and wrestling behind her. Azusa steps away from wrestling in Tokyo Joshi, but she is still a presence in the promotion, hosting talk shows with the rest of the cast, and most recently performing voiceover for Tokyo Joshi's biggest show ever. On June 2020, during an episode of Princess Night, Azusa has some exciting news. She's finally engaged to get married. Azusa no longer looking for marriage to get stronger, instead she's going to get married to become happier. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. I'm sorry it took 2 months to make. That's on me. I'm not very good when it comes to time management, it seems. I started working on this like the day after the Dragon Bombers video went up, but apparently I'm just awful. So thanks for watching this Azusa Takigawa video, which is the last of the season for Tales from Tokyo Joshi. The series will continue in the new year, but in the meantime, to stop me from getting burnt out from them, I'm going to be doing shorter projects. The next big one is the 2020 My Favorite Matches list. If you have any recommendations that I should check out, definitely let me know. And there's also 2 more videos planned for December, so I've got a lot of work cut out for me, but that's fine. I'd like to thank my translator. There was a lot of footage to be translated, and I debated on how much to keep in, but I thought I'd keep it all in, just because it's Azusa's last match, her last speech in the promotion, and I thought those of you who were fans of Azusa deserves to know what she says in full. And it's also the only full English record of that promo, so that's pretty crazy. So, yeah, thank you again so much for watching. Ta-ta. Azusa, I hate this name, dude.